Hello, welcome to Effective Follow-Up with Market Snapshot. My name is Warren Anderson. I'll be your instructor for today. During the session, I'll be sharing my screen with you guys, so you don't need to have any other applications open. If you want to be able to follow along in your own account, I know it can be hard, especially if you've just got one monitor. So today's session is being recorded, and you'll all receive an email with a link afterward where you can view it if you wanted to try and do stuff in your own account. If you have any questions, I'm not able to hear you today, but in the control panel for GoToWebinar, there's a question section which you can click on and type your questions in there and hit send. They'll show up on my screen. Okay, so to start the session, I wanted to quickly set the stage with how things have changed in the market in the last few years. So here's a scatter graph showing the number of online real estate leads generated versus home sales back in 2011. So at that time, there were 4.5 million leads generated and 4.8 million home sales, which was a pretty good ratio and where you'd probably expect them. In the last few years, though, things have changed. So here's a chart showing how things were in 2017. As you can see, the number of leads generated has increased by a huge amount, up to 88.5 million leads, but the number of home sales has only increased a small amount, up to 5.5 million sales. So the reason for this huge increase is because nowadays, instead of just filling in a single form on a single site, consumers submit multiple inquiries on many different websites, and this means the competition for leads is higher than it's ever been. Or another problem is with the typical lead nowadays, they're usually several months away from actually transacting, and in fact, 50% of leads take more than 12 months to convert. Nurturing leads and making sure to follow up constantly is key to growing your business. So the Market Snapshot report is designed to help you with these problems. Market Snapshot is going to share valuable data about the local market for the areas they're interested in using data straight from the MLS. The ongoing schedule reports that you can set provide consistent client updates and help answer key questions such as how's the market or should I sell now or wait. These reports are all branded with your name and contact information, so you always stay top of mind, and the best part is once you set them up, they're all automated. So in today's session, we're going to talk about the Market Snapshot report and how to explain it to your clients. We'll also look at the listing, price change, and sold alerts feature and talk about what they are and when you'll want to use them. After that, we'll take a look at a few different ways of how to subscribe your contacts to a Market Snapshot, both with and without Top Producer, to help cultivate those early stage buyer and sellers, and also to help stay in touch and stay top of mind with your contacts in your sphere and your past clients to generate repeat and referral business. We're going to take a look at how to create a Market Snapshot landing page, which you can share online through email or social media to have people sign up for their own reports. And finally, we'll take a look at the Market Snapshot summary email, which goes out each week to let you know who's been viewing their reports. All right, so the first thing I wanted to do today is talk about what the Market Snapshot report contains and what it looks like. So before we take a look at an actual report, though, just so you know, how it works is once you sign somebody up to receive the Market Snapshot, the first thing they'll get is an email, which is going to look like this. Obviously, it's going to have your photo and branding and stuff on the top, but the email is going to pull a few stats from the report, such as average days on market, average sale price, and then has a button that they need to click on to actually view the report, which will open it up in their web browser. So here is a picture of a Market Snapshot. We're going to look at a real one in a second, but I wanted to show this because I wanted to show on the left is what a Market Snapshot looks like if someone's opening it up on like a computer screen. And then on the right is what that same Market Snapshot would look like if it was opened up on a smartphone, right? So the Market Snapshot report is mobile responsive, which means no matter what size device they're using, whether it's a smartphone, a tablet, a computer, or even like a big screen TV, right? It always looks good. There's no side-to-side scrolling. But with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at an actual report. So this is an example of what the Market Snapshot looks like. So you'll see, again, it's kind of branded with my information up at the top there, my name, my phone number, my photo. This email button, if they click on that, is gonna send an email to me. Now there's a couple types of reports you can do. There's a buyer report, and then there's like an owner or a seller report. And the difference is the buyer report is going to be focused on like a certain area that the buyer's interested in. It's going to show all the homes in the area that match the price range they're looking at and have at least the minimum number of bedrooms and bathrooms they require. The owner or the seller report instead is going to be based on the person's address, and it's going to show what's going on with other similar properties in the area around their home. So this report we're looking at is a buyer report. So you can see up at the top, it kind of lists the information that was used to generate the report in terms of area, price range, bedrooms, bathrooms. Now, right now it's got a kind of like a top-down view of the area, as you can see. If this was a buyer report, if the property is listed, it'll actually, or pardon me, not a buyer report, a seller report, and the property is actually listed, it'll have the photo of the property right here. But when it's just a buyer report, it's just kind of the top-down view. Over here, you can see some averages for the properties in this report: average asking price, average sold price, whether it's above or below asking price, average days on market. This homes for sale is looking at how much inventory has changed in the last 90 days. Has there been an increase? Has there been a decrease? Right. All these stats, if you click the details link here, can show you more details. So you see exactly where the information was coming from. All of it's coming from the MLS too, by the way. So it's going to be accurate, up-to-date information. Going down, you can see the actual properties on the report. So a market snapshot report can include up to 100 properties, and then they're going to be broken down into some different types here. So just so you know, new for sale is going to be anything that's been listed less than 2 weeks. For sale is anything listed longer than 2 weeks, and then properties sold in the last few months, and then pendings, obviously pendings and expired and canceled. Now, right now it's going to be showing me all these properties. If I say I was only interested in what was for sale, I didn't really care what was sold or pending, I could actually click on these buttons to kind of remove them from the list. Right, so now it's just going to be showing me these ones. And then if I wanted to view the other ones, obviously I just click the button and put them back on. To view the property details, you just click on any of these properties. It's going to take you then to a page where you'll be able to see all the photos and other details. It just takes a second to load here. So here we go. It's got the photos all coming up here. They can scroll through them. Down at the bottom, over on the right-hand side, there's sections here with the property details. Right, you can expand that by just clicking on the little plus, and it shows all the typical details they're going to see on the MLS there. There's also the schools nearby, right, which is actually going to be the assigned schools for this property. It includes the ratings from this Great Schools website. And then the neighborhood section just shows all the kind of closest amenities in the area. They can click this drop down to kind of view them by type. They can show them on a map. They can read reviews and all that stuff, so they can get great information about what's going on in the neighborhood. And then the description of the properties down at the bottom as well. One other thing about the report is there is a map view. So if they would rather, right now it's got the properties in a list. If they want to see everything on a map, there's a little map icon in the top right corner they can click on, and that'll switch to a map view. And then you'll see when it loads here, it's going to place pins on the map for each of the properties. And so you can zoom it in a bit and you can see each of those properties. And then all you have to do is click on it, and it'll actually highlight the property on the right-hand side there. And once it's highlighted, again, if you wanted to view it, just click on it in the right, and that'll take you to the property details page. So that's the market snapshot report. One thing you may notice when you're looking at the report, though, is nowhere on here do we try to tell people what their home is worth. That's because we feel that's really what an agent is for, right? Agent are able to give an accurate price based on all the different factors, whereas all these websites that give estimates, as you know, a lot of the times they're horribly inaccurate, right? That's not what this report is about. The market snapshot report is really just designed to let people know what's going on in the market in either, like I said, the area they're interested in if they're a buyer, or what's going on with homes around their home if they're a seller. So anyways, that's the report. Now, just so you know, let me go back up here. With these reports, the way they work is it's not just like a single report you send them. You can actually set them to go out on a regular basis. So you can set them to go on a weekly basis, monthly basis, There's a few options. I think it's every 2, 4, 6, or 8 weeks. And then there was like a quarterly, semi-annually, and even an annual report you could do. You can choose when you send the report how often you want to send it. If the client, after receiving the report, does want to change it, they do have the ability to do so. There's a little change report link up in the top right corner they can click on to change it. So yeah, that's the report. Now, hopefully we can agree it's a good report, a lot of good information on there that people are going to want. But like I said, the way these reports work is they're going to go out like on a weekly basis or something. So what happens if you send somebody a report today, and then all of a sudden tomorrow a new property came on the market that was exactly what they were looking for? It was right area, right price, right bedrooms, right bathrooms. Now if they have to wait another week or 2 weeks or whatever their market snapshot frequency is set to before they notice the property, they may miss it, right? Depending on how busy the market is. So to help with things like that, included with your market snapshot report is something that we call the listing and price change and sold alerts feature. So with the listing and price change and sold alerts feature, what's going to happen is when a property comes on the market, if it matches what their market snapshot report is based on, they're going to get an alert on your behalf automatically. Price changes alerts, same kind of thing, but they're going to go when a property's price changes if it was matching their report. So either a property that was outside their price range and now it's in their price range, or if it was already just in their price range and the price drops, they'll get an alert. And then sold alerts go out when a property sells that matches what the report is based on. So here is just a screenshot of the 3 different alerts. So the blue ones are the just listed alerts. Green one is the price change alerts, and then red is for the sold alerts. Now, with these alerts, just so you know, they are going to be, they call them real-time alerts because they're going to go out literally within minutes of the property, changing on the MLS, either showing up or price changing or being sold. Now, the thing with the real-time listing alerts, though, is it can sometimes, end up with, especially in your busy market, you can have your clients getting multiple emails a day, which sometimes they don't want, right? So in addition to the real-time listing alerts, we also have something called the listing alerts daily summary, which we can send. And what that's going to do, instead of going out immediately when a property comes on the market or sells or whatever, each day they're just going to get one email with a summary of all the new listings, all the price changes, and all the solds. Right? So depending on your client, that might be their preference. And again, you'll see in a second here when we go to send these reports, you get to choose whether you want to do the real-time alerts or you want to do the summary on an individual basis here. So with all that said, let's go ahead and talk about sending the market snapshot. Right, so there's several ways to send the market snapshot that I want to talk with you guys today. You're able to send a market snapshot to your contacts from your computer, right? You can also do it through your smartphone. So even if you're not at your computer, you can still be sending these reports. You can do it through Producer CRM. If you've got that, you can also, if you're not a Top Producer subscriber, you will be sending snapshots through the Market Snapshot Control Panel as well. So a lot of options here. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to switch over to my web browser, and we're going to start by taking a look at the Market Snapshot Control Panel. Hang on a second. So the Market Snapshot Control Panel, this is where you're going to be signing in to the control panel. Now, if you have Top Producer CRM, most of the time you send snapshots, you're going to do it from your Top Producer account. However, everybody will need to log in to the Top Marketer Control Panel at least once, because that's where you're going to actually set up your account, add your profile, pick your branding, stuff like that. So the address is for the control panel is www.topmarketer.net, and I'm just gonna copy and paste that into the chat box in case you want to write that down. When you go to that page, there's a spot for you to put in your username and password. Now, you would have got that when you signed up in an email, so hopefully you have that. If you can't find that information, let us know. You can contact us. We have phone support, email support. We can resend it to you. But the first time you sign in here, it's actually going to bring up a little setup wizard. Now, I've already completed the setup wizard in my own account, which is why it's not going to show up here automatically. But if I wanted to rerun the setup wizard, I can. And I'm going to just quickly go through it, just for those of you that haven't yet, just so you know what to expect. So if you did need to rerun the setup wizard, you can always go up to the setup icon at the top and then down to setup wizard. So the setup wizard is 3 steps. Step 1 is going to be editing your branding, right? So like filling in your name, your phone number, your email address, your photo. Now, if you have Top Producer CRM, if you've set that account up, you can actually click this Top Producer button right here, and it'll let you import the account information, including all that stuff: name, email, phone number, photo. If you don't have Top Producer, you'll just have to edit it manually. You'll see on this page there's like a few edit buttons throughout. So like if I wanted to edit, say, the phone number, I click the little edit button next to the phone number, and it'll bring up a pop-up window where I can then, edit the number. If I wanted to edit the email address, right, click the edit button next to the email me button, brings up a field where I can type in the email address. So you can just go through there, get it how you want it. You can always customize this and change it later if you want. If you're, after doing it for a while, you want to mix things up, you can. There's like different color themes down here that you can select from. You just click on any of them and it'll switch to that theme. So hopefully you can find something that kind of matches your existing branding. But yeah, you can use any of the themes if you want. Once you're happy with that, you just click the next button down in the bottom right. And then step 2 is going to be connecting to the MLS. Right. So on this second step, you'll see there's a spot here for the your MLS board. Now I've got several accounts attached to mine for like testing purposes. Most people are probably only going to have 1, maybe 2 MLSs on this page. What you have to do for each one is you'll have to type in your MLS ID, and then actually depending on the MLS, you might also have to put a password in. Right. Most of the MLSs here just require the ID. You see there's no password field, but see down here, this one does have a password field, which means I have to fill it in. So if you had more than one MLS here, whichever one you think you kind of use more often, you should just check the make default checkbox there, and it'll just pick that one initially. You can always select a different one every time you create the report if you want. But then, yeah, once that's done, click next one more time, takes you to the final step. And really the final step of the setup wizard just gives you the chance, if you want, you can create a snapshot for one of your contacts by clicking the green create market snapshot button there. Or if you want to just send yourself an example of a market snapshot, you can hit the test market snapshot button. But honestly, once you've done the second step, you can just hit the close wizard button. That'll close the wizard. That'll take you back to the home page. And then, going forward, anytime you log in after that, the home page is where it's going to take you. So that's how you set it up. Now, when it comes to sending the market snapshot from here, it's actually pretty straightforward. As you can see, there's that big green create new snapshot button here. All you do is you click on this button, and then that's going to pull up a form for you to fill in. So this form here, you're going to see it a lot. Basically, every time you create a snapshot, whether it's on Top Producer or in the control panel, you're going to be filling out this form, right? So there's basically right at the top, the first thing it asks is this report for a buyer or an owner/seller, right? Depending on what option you choose there, that's going to kind of determine like what information you'll need to fill in. Now, regardless of the type of report, you will have to type in the name and the email address. Email address is required because, as you saw, this is a very interactive report with things you can click on and stuff. So it's not like you could just print it out and hand it to somebody, right? It does need to be emailed. Now, for doing the buyer report, all we have to do is put in the zip code for the area they're interested in. If I switch to the owner report, it'll actually wants their address where they live. In this case, though, I do in buyer report, and then I'm just going to put in the zip code. Now, if you have more than one MLS on your account, this drop down is where you can select which MLS you want to use. then this is where you're going to enter in what the contact's looking for and certain types of, what type of home are they looking at, what sort of price range, right? So you can set an upper limit. You can also, set a bottom limit if you want. If they're not looking for anything really cheap, you could, set some sort of floor there for the price. Minimum bedrooms and bathrooms. So it's not the maximum. It'll look for properties with more than what you put in here, just not going to look for anything with less. So if they require at least 4 bedrooms, let's put that in there. And then the next drop down, Market Snapshot Schedule, that's where you're going to set the frequency of how often they receive this report. So the default setting is every 2 weeks, but we could go for a weekly report, as I said, every 2, 4, 6, or 8 weeks, quarterly, every 6 months, or yearly. Once you set the schedule, here's where you can select which of the alerts you wanted to send, right? So like depending on the client and stuff, you may not want to send all the alerts. If people didn't, if you was just sending a report to an owner to let them know what's going on in their neighborhood, they might not care every time a property is listed. If they only wanted to find out when things were sold, you could uncheck those two, for example. And then at the very bottom there is where you would select how frequently do you send these alerts. You've got a choice there. You can do the once a day summary, or you can do the real-time alerts, which could be multiple times a day. Once you've selected all that, all you do is you click the generate button. That'll submit that request. Once the request has been submitted, it usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes. And then what'll happen is the contact is going to get that email we saw before with the button they click on to view the report. And then as the agent, you will also get an email with your own link to that report. So now if your client is looking at the report, has some questions, calls you up, you just need to go in your email, find that message, click on the link, and now you're seeing the same thing they're seeing, which should make it easier to answer any questions that you might have. Right, so that is how you would send a market snapshot from the Market Snapshot control panel. Now, if you do have Top Producer CRM, as I said, there are some benefits of sending the snapshots that way, which we're going to go ahead and take a look at now. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump over to my Top Producer account. I'm going to go ahead and, again, sign in with the username and password. You guys should have received it in an email when you signed up. Now, when you're in Top Producer, you can send market snapshots to individual contacts, right? For example, any online leads you receive, or your past and present clients, or anyone else that you might think is getting closer to a move. And then you can also send market snapshots to hundreds of people at the same time at once to supplement your mass postcards and letters and calendars that you're sending. So we're going to take a look at both ways of sending a snapshot. To send it to an individual in Top Producer, what we need to first do is open the contact record for that person. Now, there's several ways to do this, depending on whether it's a new lead you just received or whether it's somebody who's already in your database. Either way, we need to be in the actual contact record, though. So just a couple ways to open contacts. Like if it was a new lead, for example, right here in the sales pipeline, you see I've got something under new. This is a new lead. If I wanted to send Frank a snapshot, I would click on their name to open their record. Or if it's like an existing contact in the database, I can use the Rolodex, which is this thing on the right-hand side, to open the contact. To open a contact from the Rolodex, you actually have to click on them once to expand the little entry underneath them. And then on that, there's a link to view contact. If you click on that, that will take you into the contact record. So once you're in the contact record, to send the market snapshot, what you'll need to do is, give it a second here. Over on the right, you see these, there's a few buttons on the right-hand side in the top right. One of them says Perform Action. When you click the Perform Action button, the first option on here says Create Market Snapshot. So when you do that, what it's going to do, it's going to bring up the same form that we just saw a minute ago, but this time it's going to fill it in with information from the contact record. Right? We had to fill it in completely, if you remember, from the control panel, because you don't have the database of contacts that you have in Top Producer. With Top Producer, it's going to fill in as much information in the form as it can based on the information in the record. So then, assuming everything in here is correct, the only thing you really would need to do is, set the frequency, how often you want to send it, choose which alerts, and then how often do you want to send the alerts. If we wanted to switch to the buy report, we could do that, and then all we'll have to do, oops, that's weird. All we'd have to do is we would just have to then, fill in all the information about what type of property they're looking for and what price range in bedrooms and bathrooms. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as we did it in the control panel. Once it's all filled in, you click the generate button, that submits the request. And then, like I said, about 10 to 15 minutes later, the contact's going to get the email with a link to the report. And then what it'll actually do in Top Producer when you send the snapshot is it'll put a notifications tab right here. And when you click on that tab, it'll actually include a link to the market snapshot. Now, in this case, it looks like I tried to send a snapshot earlier and it failed because it returned too few results. I tried to make my report a little too specific. So that'll happen. So you'll get a notification if this happens. So if this did happen, right, you would just go back to perform action, create market snapshot, and just kind of repeat that process. And maybe open up the search, whatever you did. Maybe you set the price range wrong, or maybe you put too many bedrooms or bathrooms. So you may want to tweak that. But this is what'll happen though when the snapshot does get sent. Is it'll put an entry here with a link to that report. So now, if the contact calls you up later after having a look at their report, they've got some questions, you just have to go into their contact record and click the link, which I think is usually easier than trying to find a specific email with a link to click on. Right, but that's how you would send a snapshot. We just come into the contact record, perform action, and then create market snapshot. Click that button, fill in the form, and you're good to go. So that was how you would send a snapshot to an individual. Now, I was saying there's another way of sending the snapshot from Top Producer CRM, and it's something that we call the mass market snapshot. Mass market snapshot, what it lets you do is actually search for a group of people, and then with a few clicks of the mouse, you can send snapshots to all of them without filling in the form, because it's actually going to pull the data from the contact record and use that. So to do a mass market snapshot, first thing you should do is search for the people you want to send it to. So to do that, you want to go up to the contacts icon, and then you want to go down to where it says search for contacts. Once you're on the search for contact screen, you're then going to just fill it in with whatever you wanted to search for. So let's say I wanted to send a snapshot to all of my past clients that lived in a certain area, maybe like a city, let's say Seattle. I know I've got some past clients in Seattle. If I wanted to send a snapshot to all of them, first thing I want to do is I want to search for past clients, which to do that, I'm going to search by contact type. When you want to search by contact type, well, you can actually click on the box and type them in. What you should do is click the link to the right that says select from list. That's going to show you a list of all the contact types. And you would just go and find the ones you want. So if I wanted to search for my past clients, I'm just going to scroll down, find past client, and place a check in the box. If I wanted to search for more than one contact type, I can do that. But for now, past client's fine. So I'm just going to click the done button. And then I said I wanted to search for not all my past clients, but just those in Seattle. So I'll go ahead and click in the city field, type Seattle in. I could fill in the state as well, but I think there's only one Seattle, so state's not really required in this case. But yeah, you just click the search button then once you filled it all in. That's going to search your database and give you a list of the matching contacts. So here we go. So you can see in the bottom right, it does tell you how many contacts it is. Right now it says I've got 47 contacts. So if I wanted to send a snapshot to all 47, I just click the checkbox up in the top here, and that'll pick the whole list. That'll pick everyone. If I didn't want everybody, you don't need to pick them all. I can select them all, and then I can unselect some people, right? Or I can just individually choose. It's up to you, but once you've selected the people you want to send, you just click the Send Market Snapshots link at the bottom. When you do that, you'll get a little pop-up window confirming that you wanted to actually send these. If yes, you did want to send these snapshots, then all you have to do is click the Send Snapshots button, and that's going to do it. Now, the reason that you can send the snapshots this way without having to fill in the form is because when snapshots are sent this way, it's actually going to use the contacts primary property information. So for this to work, a couple things are required. Everybody does need to have a valid email address on their account for this to send, obviously. And they do need to have a primary property address with a valid zip code. If they don't have that, then the report will not send. Now, if they have their number of bedrooms and bathrooms filled in their contact record, Top Producer is going to use that for the report. But if not, it is going to default to 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So ideally, you want to make sure you've got that information filled in for all your contacts, because if most of your contacts are, living in 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom homes, and you're sending a report to them and it's showing information on 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes, it's not going to be relevant to them. So ideally, you'll have those property, bedrooms and bathrooms filled in for your contacts already, and it'll just use that. Otherwise, like I said, it's going to default to 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and unfortunately, there's no really way to change that default setting to something else. Also, just so you know, the snapshots sent this way are going to be seller snapshots, which means that's why they're based on the address, and the frequency is only going to be set to every 6 months. So if they wanted to get snapshots more frequently, they'll need to either change the report themselves, or if they reach out to you, you can always go in and change the report to send it more often. Now, I'm not actually going to send these. I just click cancel. But if I wanted to, I would just click the send snapshots button and off they would go. All right, so those are the ways you can put your contacts on the Market Snapshot from your computer. But I also mentioned before, you can sign people up for the Market Snapshot using your smartphone, even when you're away from your desk. So I want to go ahead and I've actually got a way to share my iPhone screen with you guys. I want to bring that up and show you how you can send a snapshot from your phone. So give me 1 second here. Wait for my iPhone to show up. All right. So now, to get into Top Producer on your phone, if you haven't done it before, it's not an app. You don't have to go to the App Store and download anything. When you want to go to Top Producer on your phone, you're just going to go in through the web browser. So if you're on an iPhone, you'll be using Safari. If you're on an Android, you'll be using Chrome. And I have a Top Producer icon I've actually created here in case anybody's wondering. That's just a shortcut to the website. That's not an app. Okay, you can create your own shortcut if you want as well. Your phone will let you create shortcuts to any websites as icons. But to log in without the icon, you just open the browser, so Safari, and then the address is the same address as you used on the computer to sign in, so tpcrm.com. Once you go there, you're going to have to sign in with the same username and password that you signed in with on the computer. Right, you can just type it in there. Now, if you choose the Remember Me option, next time you want to log in, it'll fill in for you automatically. Right? Initially, Remember Me will be unselected, so it's kind of like blue. If you tap on it so it's green, then it'll remember you next time. Anyway, so sign in, and then once you're signed in, to send the Market Snapshot to your contacts, all you have to do is pull up the contact you want to send it to. So click on Contacts. That'll give you a list of your contacts, and if you tap on any of these contacts, that takes you into the contact record. And then once you're in the contact record, to send the Market Snapshot, you see this button that says Take Action. Click Take Action. One of the actions that you can take is send a Market Snapshot. All right, so when you click on that, guess what happens? It's going to bring up that form, which you're then going to have to fill in. Now, the form maybe looks a little different because we're viewing it on the phone and they've styled it a little bit differently, but in terms of what it's actually asking you to fill in, it's all the same information as we saw on the computer, right? It asks what type of report. You can choose here between the buyer or seller, and then name and email, right? Because I'm doing the buyer report, I put the zip code for the area, got the price range, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the square footage, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and type in the zip code. All right, whoops. Did not mean to do that. Tapped on the wrong thing. Tap on the zip code. There we go. And then again, you need to make sure that the zip code you're putting in is supported by your MLS. If you put a zip code that your MLS doesn't cover that area, what'll happen is the report's going to fail because when you generate these reports, it's actually connecting to the MLS and searching using what you've put in here. So if you put in a zip code and your MLS doesn't cover that zip code, what'll happen is when it searches for it, it's not going to find any properties. And then the report's going to fail because we're not going to send a report with nothing on it. right? Now, unfortunately, when you're sending a snapshot on your phone, it doesn't give you the option of selecting between multiple MLSs if you have more than one. This is only going to send from the default MLS. So if you wanted to send a snapshot using one of your other MLSs you might have access to, you would need to actually do it through the computer. But yeah, other than filling this in, once it's filled in, you just click the Send Market Snapshot button at the bottom. That'll submit the Market Snapshot request. Right, 10 to 15 minutes later, they'll get the email, and then it's just going to bring up this little thing called the wrap-up tool, where if you want to add a note, you can, and if you want to schedule another follow-up with the same contact for later, you can. So sometimes it's not a bad idea if you send somebody a snapshot, maybe schedule a call the next day just to say, hey, I sent you this report yesterday. I wondered if you got it, had any questions on it, something like that. Use it as a conversation starter. If I wanted to schedule that follow-up call for tomorrow, I would just say yes, and then it's just going to give me a little form to fill in for the details. What type of follow-up? I want to do a call. Description, it says follow-up. Now, you might want to add a bit more description to that. So instead of simply just saying follow-up, you can be like follow-up, regarding Market Snapshot. That way, when you see this activity in your list of things to do, you'll know what it's for. And then the date, now it defaults to today, right? So unless we were planning to call him later today, which you might, if we want to do tomorrow, we just click in here and then you just get a little calendar and you just go ahead and tap the day you want to schedule that for. Once that's all done, you click save. That's just going to record all the details of that, takes you back to the contact, and then again 10 to 15 minutes later they're going to get their email and you'll get the link in the contact record. So that is how you would send a snapshot from your smartphone. So even when you're away from your computer, you can still be keeping people informed of what's going on, right? And that can be useful too, because I'm sure everyone's had, people walk up to you and say, hey, how's the market doing in my area? So now instead of saying, let me tell you, you say, hang on, let me show you. Pull out your phone, set them up on a market snapshot, and then 10 minutes later they'll get the answer to their question in that nice, looking, fully interactive report. All right. So yeah, that's how to send the market snapshot to the contacts yourself. There's one other method of getting people subscribed to the market snapshot I want to talk with you guys about today, and this is creating something we call the market snapshot landing page. So a market snapshot landing page is basically a web page that people can go to, and you'll see these web pages are customizable, and then when people go to them and fill in their information, it's not only going to gather contact information and create them as contacts, but it's going to send a market snapshot to the person, right? And you can link these websites from any source, like emails or your Facebook page or anywhere else. So setting up these web pages is pretty easy. All you need to do is go back to my browser. You want to go to this address. It's tools.topproducer.com. Actually, I'm going to put that in the chat for you as well if you want to write it down. But yeah, when you go to this page, tools.topproducer.com, over in the bottom right, this says professional landing pages. So you want to click the button that says create your landing page down in the bottom right there. And then that's going to take you to a screen where you'll have to sign in using your Market Snapshot username and password, right? Same one that you've been using all day. And then when you click login, all you have to do to create this form is there's just a few fields that you can type in, right? So you can enter in a title, right? So as you look at the sample here, you see what's your home worth? That's where the page title will show up. So if you want to, customize that to say something, you can. Find out what your home is worth. Right, we can just do that. And then description, this is just for your own, like when a lead fills in this form, it's going to be created as a contact in Top Producer. The description is going to kind of let you know where that came from. So you could say, like, if we're going to link this on, say, your Facebook page, you could say Facebook page link or something like that. That way you know when these leads come in that they came from your Facebook page. And then all you do once you fill this in, you just click the generate button, and that's going to create a little link right here. So now you got this link. So now you can take this link and you can put it wherever you want. You can share it online, like I said, Facebook, emails. You can put a link in your signature, And watch, if I just copy this link and we open it up in a new browser, you can see that this web page is it's ready to go. Right? Find out what your home is worth. Remember, that's what I typed in as the title. And then it's just got the fields there for the name, email address, and property address. Right? They take that in, they click get your free report. That's going to do two things. It's going to create their contact record in your top producer database. You can follow up with them, and then it's going to send them that market snapshot report. So yeah, that landing page there, as you can see, they look nice. The background images do rotate, so it's never, it's not like a static image. It'll change over time and stuff. So yeah, definitely you may want to check that out. Like I said, once you've created several of these pages too, it'll give you links under the previously created pages. So you can have, like, if you plan to advertise these on 4 or 5 different websites, create a different link for each one, give it a description, and then you'll have all your links here, and that way you can have your library of links, and you can keep good track of where all of your different leads are coming into your database. All right. So that's the landing pages. Now there's one more important feature of Market Snapshot that I wanted to mention to you guys today, and that was something we call the Market Snapshot Summary Report. So basically each Monday, you're going to get an email with your report, and it's going to look like this. So this report is going to show you how many snapshots and listing alerts were sent on your behalf, as well as how many were viewed, right? So you can see the view rates here. If you can get like 30% of your customers viewing Market Snapshot, that's fantastic. When you compare open rates to other emails from this industry, 30% is a huge open rate, and that's typical for the Market Snapshot. This email is also going to show you up at the top who your most engaged viewers are, which can be a great lead-in for calling those clients, right? If you've got people frequently looking at your listing alerts, well, that means they're starting to get warm, and what better time to call them than when they're actively sourcing the market. So, be sure to check out your report each Monday in your email. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was pretty much everything I had for you guys on how you can use the Market Snapshot report to follow up with all your clients, from the early stage buyers and sellers all the way to your past clients. Right, so to just kind of recap what we talked about today, we first looked at the actual Market Snapshot report itself, and talked about the information that it contains, as well as taking a look at the listing, price change, and sold alerts email, what they are and what they look like. Next, we saw how to send a Market Snapshot report to your clients, both individually and using the Mass Market Snapshot tool in Top Producer CRM. We look at creating a Market Snapshot landing page, which you're able to share online with people. And then we also looked at the weekly Market Snapshot summary report, so you know who is viewing the reports. But before we wrap it up, I'd like to open it up one last time for any additional questions you might have on using the Market Snapshot report. While I'm waiting for questions to come in, I'll put up the contact information for our customer care team. They do have phone and email support, so if you have questions or you need help or you're stuck, give us a call. It's toll free. They're open Monday to Friday from 9 to 8 Eastern, which is 6 to 5 Pacific time. Email support is available same time Monday to Friday, and also on the weekends, slightly reduced hours of 10 to 6:30 Eastern or 7 to 3:30 Pacific. At the bottom is the website for the Top Producer Campus, and that website is full of great articles and videos and other information on Top Producer and Market Snapshot, all of our other products, which is of course available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As I mentioned at the beginning, this session is being recorded, so you'll all be receiving an email in an hour or two with a link where you can view a recording if you did want to, try and follow along in your own account. You can pause and rewind and do whatever you need to do that. But yeah, so I'm not seeing any questions so far. I'm going to take it we're good. So I just want to thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the session. And now that you know how to use the Market Snapshot and some of these other features there, hopefully you'll be able to use that to cultivate those clients, move them through the different stages, and even follow up after the transaction's complete. So yeah, I'll be around for a few more minutes if you do think of any questions in the next little while. Otherwise, just want to thank you guys one more time. My name is Warren Anderson. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.